Today's Sunshine Note is titled, Maybe There Is No God. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. Romans 1:20. So much comic relief comes into a teacher's life simply from having to listen to the wide range of pathetic excuses students come up with. One day, Clifton tried to ask me out on a date because he was hoping to distract me from collecting his paper. June used to insist that he couldn't do his homework when he was in a fight with his parents, which apparently was all the time. Brandon's excuse was always that he'd been asleep when I gave the assignment. That was probably true now that I think about it. And who could ever forget dear Jeff, whose excuse was his paper filing method of rolling papers into balls and shoving them into his bag. My favorite excuse of all time came from the girl who hit a squirrel and her grief paralyzed her. If you're listening, you'll hear that people make a lot of excuses when it comes to religion and God. Many insist the Bible is either mythology or a very old record of cultural norms that don't apply to us anymore. Some say Jesus was a farce. Others say truth can't be known this side of eternity. So why bother trying to find it? Perhaps the most devastating excuse of all is that there is no God, and religion is nothing more than a made-up coping strategy. In the face of all these excuses, the voice of the Apostle Paul rings out loud and clear, saying that people are absolutely without excuse for their unbelief and evil. Why? Because God deliberately made sure that we have enough evidence to believe in Him. Romans says His power, His character, and His qualities have all been made clear to us through the things He has made, meaning through creation. Isn't that an interesting thought? That in creation there is enough evidence to convince us that God exists and that His ways are just and right. Maybe you have toyed with the idea that God doesn't exist. Just think, you could do whatever you wanted. Maybe you're frustrated with trying to prove Him or know Him. But even if doubt and unbelief sound tempting some days, don't toy with them. Paul says you'll be without excuse if you do. Decide you will choose faith as many times as it takes, and just trust the rest of the things we don't see or understand now will be made clear one day soon. May God bless you today.